This is an interesting day. Yeah, and just to remind everybody, this is being recorded. So, if you guys have any issues with that, this is the time to do what you need to do now. But first, I want to welcome everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Jim Harbin. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a deputy commissioner here with the Department of Planning and Development, and would like to welcome all of our stakeholders and attendees to our June Chicago Avenue Corridor Roundtable. Many of you who didn't and who wasn't on our call last month are accustomed to seeing our coordinating planner, Ethan Lassiter, here at the helm. Ethan is fine, but regrettably is no longer here with the city. Ethan moved on to a remarkable opportunity with a private firm here in the city, so we still will see him, and he certainly will be missed by this department, but his work helped set the foundation and the bones for this platform. And the city of Chicago is committed to building on his effort and commitment to this great community. So we wish Ethan well and know that our paths will soon intersect. Today we have a full agenda, guys. But before we get started, if the alderman has joined our call, and can somebody, Claudette or Dorian, let me know if that's the case. But if the alderman's on the call, this is the time, Alderman, we would certainly love to have you have a few remarks before we get started. Is either alderman on the call?
Alderman Mitz is about she will be chiming in very shortly.
Okay, well, we will let her chime in when she gets on.
So okay, thanks, Jim.
We're going to go ahead and get started.
Absolutely.
Here's our agenda for today. There's going to be a quick overview in terms of Invest South and West and the reason why we have these roundtables, just as a level set. We have our wonderful facilitator here, Claudette Baker, who's going to help us and guide us through today's presentation. And she's also going to give you the rules of engagement so we understand how we're going to interact with each other. But we have some wonderful speakers here today. We have CDOT, who's going to update us on the Streetscape Project that is coming up for the corridor. Vig, and I'm not going to even try that last name, is here to speak about that. And I know Wade is here as well for support. D Case and our artist in resident, Antonia Rupert, is here to talk about an upcoming project called the Art Showcase, and she's going to update us on that. Also Norman Kerr, and I don't know if Norman joined just yet, but I know he's on his way, and he's going to update us from the mayor's office in terms of the summer safety strategy, particularly for Austin in the corridor. So we're going to be very interested in hearing about that. And then Malcolm Crawford is going to join us as well and just provide some updates in terms of what's recently happened along the corridor and what we can expect between now and the holiday coming up next month. We also will have time after each session to go over some questions and answers, obviously. And then at the end, we'll talk about when the next roundtable is going to occur. So just to get us started, this platform is a result of the initiative by Mayor Lori Lightfoot called Invest South and West. And again, as a reminder, and I know many of you guys on the call already know this, the city has targeted 10 community areas and 12 corridors, literally to signal and to pivot in terms of how we marshal resources for these vibrant communities. We are literally lighting up 12 corridors as a result. Austin Chicago Avenue is certainly one of them. And the intent is to reactivate neighborhood cores in order to spur economic development. And if there is a poster child for that type of activity taking place in this city, Austin is certainly emerging as it. We want to also focus, as was done yesterday, on pedestrian activity, as well as transportation, retail and services, public spaces, and certainly quality of life amenities for residents. So that's what we're here to do today in terms of enhance and talk about those activities. But with that, I'm going to now turn this over to our wonderful facilitator who has helped guide us through this process before. Her credentials are second to none. And with that, Claudette, I turn it over to you to get us started.
Thanks, Jim, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the roundtable. Let's get started. Just as a reminder of our community agreements is to please keep your microphone on mute. Unless you are speaking, please use the Zoom Q&A or the chat feature for whatever questions that you have. And if you'll raise your hand when responding, and also respect the stack. So we know that there are a lot of questions that come in. We will take them in the order that they are. Know that we want to be respectful of everyone who is on the call. So again, thank you. I know that we have some limited time for this first presenter. So it may be that your questions have to be parked and may be addressed later. But let's get started with Wade Van Norwick and Vig Krishnamurthy with CDOT. So Wade and Vig.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. It's very nice to be here on behalf of the CDOT. So as part of Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the City of Chicago's Chicago Works capital plan, we have identified funding and resources for a streetscape project on Chicago Avenue from Austin to Cicero. And so we just wanted to talk a little bit today about what Streetscape Project consists of, the process from here for both design, consultation, and input. And then when we're going to see what we're all excited about, I'm sure, is shovels in the ground and great things happening in the community. So a streetscape project, as Deputy Harbin sort of teed up, it's really geared towards completely reconstructing the street. Say, let's look at the street from one side where the buildings are to the other side where the buildings are. And how do we make that street work for our values of local economic development, community character, identity and culture, art and design. And so the types of things that we may see through a streetscape project are new sidewalks, full width resurfacing, special types of materials in the sidewalk like pavers, new trees, new lighting, as well as art and identity elements like those banners you may see on the flagpoles throughout the city, or custom metalwork, as well as kiosks or visual type of vertical things like totems or other identity elements with lighting that really help create that sense of uniqueness and community character that represent this part of Chicago distinct from others. So we've identified $21.5 million through a variety of city as well as state funds, and have already found a design team to help start this process. So they're now, Wade is part of that team, looking at some of the just existing conditions in the corridor, like what are the traffic volumes, how many people are walking, what's the state of repair of the existing traffic signal equipment and sidewalks, what's broken, what's needs attention, so that we can come back soon, later this year, to really start working with you as members of the community in the collaborative design process. I think we go to the next slide.
Hold on. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right, so here are some pictures of those elements from other parts of Chicago where we've implemented streetscape projects to give you a sense of what we're talking about here. It's really comprehensive and a great chance of making the street more than just a place to get through Chicago Avenue from one end to the other, but actually activate the possibilities of the people who are doing business, living on the corridor, and coming to the corridor for social reasons, economic reasons, and other reasons to really stay and linger and spend time and spend money in a good way that's positive. Next slide, please. So this presents a draft schedule, and essentially here we are at bullet 2, our June 2021 Invest Southwest Roundtable. And through late summer and fall, we really start in earnest our design process with you all, which typically involves coming up with 2-3 concepts for both what is the nature of the street, how many lanes of traffic, should we have things like bike lanes, should we have bigger sidewalks, how could that all be configured, but also the urban design, what should the art be, what should those things look like, and working to get community input through a series of meetings and conversations and going out and walking together and observing and developing those plans. Then once that is all sort of rounded up, essentially looking into over the winter period and spring of next year doing the detailed design. And that's essentially translating all that great ideas and vision into some documents that our contractors can actually go and construct these actual wonderful things. And so we will have to do this in phases, typically construction. So we try to get shovels in the ground as soon as possible by picking a segment of the corridor and starting, and then simultaneously designing the subsequent segments so they can come in phases right behind, and hopefully looking for shovels in the ground by November 2022, which I hope is all very exciting to everyone. So that's an overview of the process. We're going to be back soon to engage more, and I'd love to have a little bit of time for questions if that fits in with the meeting schedule.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. Are there questions? I don't see hands raised or questions in the chat. Okay, so no questions. We will move on. So thank you for the presentation. Alderman Metz, are you here now? Alderman Metz? Okay, so let's move on. And now we'll have a presentation from Antonio Rupert from DK's Art Showcase. So Ms. Rupert.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm excited to share, as Austin's artist in residence, one of the things I'm tasked to do is to bring art programs as well as long-term art installations to the community. And so here we are. One of the things we've been doing is to bring an art program we call our Austin Art Workshops, about 110 participants, 5 workshops that started Memorial Day weekend, and it will continue until July 9th. And so I'm excited to share some visuals and just share what we've been doing in the community. So beginning with Memorial Day weekend, we brought on artists such as Jesse Howard. He's an artist totally vested in the community. He's had work at Southside Community Arts Center as well as MCA. We brought on Alt Space Chicago, the dynamic duo, to share photography with our constituents during Community Connection and Culture Day that was sponsored by the 25th District as well as Pastor Mac. Myself and a team of volunteers are currently teaching workshops with Westside Police and Youth Sports at Moore Park with Stephanie Marquette and Coach Brendan Wilkerson. One of the things that we're doing is we are reimagining what the corridor could look like through art. And so people are expressing themselves. For example, we had a young man who was out there, and even as we were cleaning, he was still out there with us, wanting to continue to paint with us. And so that's the kind of engagement that we have been having. People are expressing their ideas with us and expressing what they imagine their world could look like through art. We have a few more workshops to go, again, until July 9th. And we are curating that work that comes in. We're working with City Curator Greg Lunsford, who is working quite closely with me in terms of the fabrication of the art and what it could look like. And so how can you be involved? We love to have people's involvement in this process. Businesses can support by hosting 1 to 2 pieces in their business. We envision that you can share the information with people who are coming in, letting them know that the showcase is coming. Prayerfully, I hope to be back to share when the showcase actually opens and to have more information for you at that time. I will put my information in the chat and you can pick that up. But in the meantime, just know that we are engaged this summer with our young people and engaged with the community with our workshops. and looking forward to the Austin Art Showcase that's coming up. So thank you so much. Any questions or feedback?
Do you have, he's friendly, do you have any information that we could put on, the wall or, for,
So I believe the question is from Margaret Garner. Is there information available?
I apologize, but we like to take it, we like to be able to like share the information and be able to engage you, because it's like everything for the police and fire academy is from youth to adult engagement, trades, police, fire, and emergency responders, and everyone is like so engaged in this process. And the alderman, whether she's on or she's not, but this has been a part of her vision for over 20 years to make sure that this entire community is inclusive. So that's part of my piece, to make sure that we can be inclusive. And thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. I will have something for you. This flyer is what we have right now, and that is absolutely available for you. So we can make sure that gets to you.
That would be great, because we're going to do this. We're kicking off this big Juneteenth celebration today through Sunday. So if you can get it to me at ASAP, we'd love to have it at our table over the weekend. And you can give me an infomercial, and we'll take and celebrate you as well.
So Ms. Rupert, if you have the flyer available as a PDF, if you could post it in the chat for the roundtable, that would be great. And then everybody can access it from there. There is a question from Aisha Oliver as to where is the youth engagement happening?
The youth engagement is happening at Moore Park, and that is through Westside Sports. And also we have one more Zoom section that's on Zoom from July 5th, 7th, and 9th. And that is through Pastor Max What About Us organization. And I can certainly get more information to you. You can email me, I can drop my email there, and we can correspond that way.
Additional questions for Ms. Rupert?
I would just like to ask Jim that everything that's being put in the chat through Lathan and through yourself, if you could just share that information to make sure that we're like spreading the word, because I think it's very important that we have the opportunity to like share the knowledge for everything that we're trying to do to invest Southwest. And I think that's huge. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, consider it done.
Any other questions related to the showcase? And my apologies to the roundtable that I didn't mention this as we talk about our agreements. It's just as a reminder, please identify yourself as you verbally ask your questions. I do see Alderman Mitz, it has arrived. Alderman, before we go to our next speaker, would you like to address the group? Alderman Mitz, can you unmute?
Finally got it. Thank you. I'm having such difficulties this morning, and ask the group to be in prayer for us. We just lost George McKinley, who worked with us, so we're all very sad and thoughtful. I'll come back and speak later. Just telling you brings too many emotions for me.
All right, thank you.
Amen, Alderman.
As a reminder, as the alderman has asked, is that there has been a loss in the family, meaning our community family of George McKinley. So please keep Mr. McKinley's family in prayer. Next on the agenda, we have Norman Kerr, who is going to talk about safety from the city. Mr. Kerr?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. And I do want to start off by saying my condolences to Mr. McKinley's family and to you, Alderman Mitz, for your dedication and your work in the ward. So what I'm talking about today is the summer safety strategy, which is an initiative that we're implementing through the mayor's office, which is an all government response to addressing violence this summer. My name is Norman Kerr. I'm the director of the Office of Violence Reduction in the mayor's office. And I'm going to take you through these slides. So the strategy objectives that we established, and this is something that we've been meeting for 9 weeks now with city departments as well as community organizations in the various areas that we're in. We're looking at 15 areas, 15 beats throughout the city of Chicago. The 15 that have ranked 1 to 15 over the last 3 summers, summer 2018, summer 2019, and summer 2020. And our objectives are to streamline internally and move forward with a strong all-city response to address community safety in each designated area, engage community partners to co-create approaches to address violence, break down incidents at the beat level to analyze violence trends and to coordinate collective responses, identify any gaps and needs that are necessary to support this work, establish a weekly cadence for meetings, and sustain this work with high intensity throughout the summer. So we'll skip this slide, the agenda, but here's the beats that we're focused on throughout the city. And this is ranked 1 to 15. So you'll see that the most violent beat is beat 1132. So this is North Lawndale and West Garfield Park. So this is like basically Jackson to Roosevelt, and Pulaski is the west border. And then you'll see the other beats that follow. So 421, 1533 in Austin, a couple more on the west side. So there's 9 total on the west side and 6 total on the south side, which will total the 15. So next slide. These are a list of community partners that have been active in the meetings thus far. So we have city departments for sure, DFSS, Streets and Sands, Buildings, DPD, et cetera. But we also have community partners that have been involved as well. Institute for Nonviolence, Gary Comer on the south side, Target, Build. So some organizations that may be familiar. And this is not just, where we're limiting it to. I mean, we want to see other partners involved. So we're consistently bringing on new partners. So as I mentioned, the 4 zones, 2 west and 2 south. This is what zone 1 looks like. This is, we've broken it into 5 beats in zone 1. This is beat 1533. So this is the only portion of Austin that we're focused on currently. Beat 1131, 1132, and 1133, which really hit West Garfield, East Garfield, and North Lawndale on the south, and then beat 1011, which is strictly North Lawndale. And we're meeting on Tuesdays at 3:30. So each zone has a meeting date. Zone 1 is Tuesdays at 3:30, and it goes throughout the entire week. We meet on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day at 3:30 for one zone each. If you go back to that slide that you were just at, the map there. So this is how we look at the areas in beat 1132. We have a map that DPD provided. It's a beautiful map, but we're able to identify some hotspot areas. So the 5 areas that you see indicated is what the group came up with and said, these are the areas that we need to focus on. So this includes Jackson and Pulaski. It includes the Save-A-Lot. It includes some other areas as well. And what we're doing is we're conducting different pop-ups and activities in these areas. Now, when we looked at the entirety of the 15 beats, and some areas had 5 hotspots, some had 10, it was really something that was unmanageable at this time. When we're starting out, we wanted to just really drill down and focus. So in beat 1132 in zone 1, we decided that we're going to focus on Jackson and Pulaski. So this is an area that we're putting in a lot of resources. Libraries is there, parks is there, police department is there. Streets and Sands is doing cleaning. BACP is checking on businesses. Buildings is checking on locations as well. And we're bringing in, different community partners to do street outreach, to do different activities. So we're still ramping up, what the programming looks like. We want to have different activities and really create the environment of, mini festivals and pop-ups that are taking place at these locations to really address the violence there. And I know this is like, an old approach. There's been areas where people have done, smoke outs for, 20 years, have done different activities, but we want to make sure that we stick with it and ramp it up. And we're looking at the focus area as something that we're going to address for the entire weekends. According to the data, these are the busiest times, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're going to put activities there. Some will be all night activities. Some will be, afternoon, late evening into the night. So this is what we're working on now. The next slide is something that we look at. This is police data for each beat. So we go through this in each meeting. What does it look like in each beat over the last 28, 14, 7 days? And what are some of the trends that are taking place with summer, heating up literally and figuratively? You can imagine that we're having a lot of conversations about what needs to happen. If you go to the next slide, for each area, we look at a breakdown as far as what resources are there. So what schools are in the area, what parks, libraries, street outreach, gas stations, which, in some areas pose a big problem. What organizations are there? But how can we comprehensively address this issue? And we also develop a community calendar, what's happening throughout the weekend. So you can see this calendar, it's a little old. There's a lot more things that are happening, but we want to make sure that there's activities happening most of the day. There's something that's taking place and we're reclaiming that space. A space that has been plagued with issues for sometimes a number of years. There's been a lot of efforts to address it. We were trying to just add some consistency for the summer so we don't have another crazy summer in these locations. And that just gives you an idea. As I mentioned, in Austin, beat 1533 is the area in Austin that we're focused on. So in the zone meetings, for instance, in zone 1, there's 3 different districts that are represented. The 10th district, the 11th district, and the 15th district. On that meeting on Tuesdays at 3:30, Commander Calderon from 10 is on, Commander McKenzie from 11 is on, and Commander Wines from 15 is on as well. And we go through each area. So the goal is to bring city resources like never done before. I mean, there's been Operation Cleans, Operation Wake Ups, all these other things that are complementing this as well. But just really trying to tie it together. And our goal is to bring in more of what the community is doing. So there may be some activities that community organizations are doing currently that can be add-ons to this. We just want to have some consistency and just like a variety of different programming that's happening. So just to give an idea, I mean, there's a question here about Zoom. So right now the meetings are every day from Tuesday to Friday at 3:30. These are Zoom conversations, but the actual activities are taking place on the locations. So I will put my information in the chat, my email address, if anybody's interested in joining, or if you can recommend some community-based organizations that could be a good fit to participate, we welcome that. But if you just have any questions in general, you'd like to contact me and get some more information, feel free to do so. I'll add my cell phone number as well.
Are there additional questions for Mr. Kerr? There's a question here from Samantha Jordan. Oops. Which says, when I see info about the beat meetings, is it too small to read in the email and there are no links to follow? Can you get a better system of delivering the information?
So let me say that what I'm talking about now aren't beat meetings. This is totally something that's separate. This is the summer safety strategy. If you are interested in links to those conversations, I can get that to you. I put my information in the chat, but these are separate from the beat conversations that are taking place monthly. These are weekly conversations about each zone.
Norman,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. Thank you all very much for just bearing with me. I would like to hear more of your presentation. If we're talking about the safety, my mind may not be able to wrap around all that are being said, but I think it's crucial that I weigh in and see a little more information that you have so we can better coordinate and get input, and making sure I get the input from the residents in the community as well. And I do believe that we want to have a system where we're all collectively working for the betterment, moving as we move forward with the plan for safety.
Yes, ma'am. And just so you know, Alderman, there is a meeting, regional meeting with aldermen that I'm working on, where it'll
Okay.
teach the aldermen to brief them on public safety as well. So you'll be hearing from me about that.
Okay, very good.
Any other questions? Mr. Kerr, if you will note the link that's in the chat that's given someone an error, perhaps you can help them with that offline, I believe, or post a good link to it. Any other questions regarding safety as we wrap up this segment? Okay, thank you. Next, we will have Margaret Decker, who is going to talk about public safety along the corridor. Ms. Decker.
Actually, Claudette, this was going to be Malcolm that was going to talk through that, if I'm not mistaken.
So we'll have Malcolm Crawford, who is
Yeah.
the corridor manager. Mr. Crawford.
So let me get this right. So I was not to come on about public safety.
Yeah, it's about projects updates.
Project updates.
Yeah.
So is
yeah.
that what we're doing now?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what we're doing.
Okay. So the biggest thing, let me just. So one of the biggest things that we have right now, that we were extremely excited. Everyone was out. It was a great time to show the community, and everyone. There was close to 100 people out yesterday at the ribbon cutting and the opening of the Pop Court, which is an outdoor space on Chicago Avenue. Vanessa Stokes, who is on the call, has done a phenomenal job with pulling that together. And now we have the space to do outdoor events. There's a blues concert scheduled for next Saturday, I believe, at that location. We'll try to get you the date. Vanessa's on here, so hopefully put it in the chat, the information. But that was a phenomenal event, just showing Seoul City and the changes that's happening in the community. The other thing was we did it's called the Surge. So the Surge is ministers working together with businesses in the Invest Southwest corridors in order to bring members and parishioners out to pray and to do business along the corridor. On Chicago Avenue, that's being led by Pastor Steve Epton of Hope Community Church. We were able to go out, that was June the 5th, and Antonia Rupert was there. Actually, Jim Harbin was there on the corner, as well as Southsiders and different ones, all coming together to walk, talk, and pray along the Chicago Avenue corridor. So that was a wonderful opportunity. We met up at the corner of Chicago and Mayfield, where the vaccination bus was. And to date, that was the largest amount of vaccinations that they've done with the vaccination bus on Chicago and Mayfield. For over 50, 60 people got vaccinated in a 3-hour period. And DJ Phantom was out there, on radio and that kind of thing. So that was really great that happened along Chicago Avenue. Just to keep you guys in mind, one of the things that you should be starting to see more information about is the partnership between AAA BNA and Urban Main Street. Urban Main is right now working on design guidelines for the corridor, as everybody is putting up new spaces and different things. The commissioner is Commissioner Cox very much wants to have a consistent look for Seoul City. And so he's engaged Urban Main. Once Urban Main comes up with a day, and hopefully it will be by the next roundtable, and we can tell you guys when that will be. Urban Main will be leading a discussion about the guidelines for how we should look, some kind of synergy along Chicago Avenue as buildings are being put together. So that's coming as well. And then lastly, I talked last time about Dream Team Office Suites. I have two things. Dream Team Office Suites has postponed their grand opening, which was going to be June 19th, but they're not going to do it June 9th. I'll keep you guys, June 19th, I'll keep you guys informed of that. And then lastly, there will be a Juneteenth celebration from 12 to 5, free with live entertainment, food, vendors at LNS Development. This is sponsored by Wintrust, and that will be at 5936 West Chicago Avenue. I believe I got it all, Jim.
Yeah, you did, and thank you for that, Malcolm. I know we have some of the information you had from last month's slide, but I thought it would be helpful if you could just walk through the projects once again, for those who didn't attend last month's roundtable, in terms of some of the other projects going along the corridor.
So we have Stone Temple Development Corporation, who has a project. And if you guys can look at the dollar amounts of what's being infused into Chicago Avenue. Anthony's Cleaners. Hey. So Anthony's Cleaners, who's gotten funded. The Coleman's Barbecue. If you look, that project is completed. They have landscaping out front, and as well as you see the cement seating area out inside of the fence. Potluck, we're not sure about that right now, so we don't know what's happening with that. Soul City Studios is still on track to move forward, and you see that dollar amount. TNC Fitness is waiting on one. They had to get some things straight. As far as parking, they got that straight, and now they're ready. They should be getting their permit and ready to start working there at TNC Fitness. Elmay Creations, I believe their drawings is in. They're doing a mixed-use property on in the 5900 block of Chicago Avenue. Can we keep going? So you have the art installation, which we're still talking about, $77,000. I just talked about LNS Development. You have Batters and Berry, the Bruce, which is, and you see that dollar amount that's being infused. Dream Team Office Suites. It's got potluck on here again, but we have some issues with that. We are so excited about the Bailey Span Garden. That will now be another pop court. So they're looking to redesign. We were out of touch. I was out of touch with the old way of doing things. And now when we see the new pop court, now that is the guideline. That is the benchmark that's being set for what things should look like on Chicago Avenue. Brown Soul Food, which was personally financed, is almost ready to open. She got her architectural drawing. She's got everything in now. That should be opening soon. And then Majani Vegan Soul is still coming, just needs some more money, but he's personally financing that project on Chicago Avenue. Oh, there's more. Can't be more. Oh yeah, there is more. Okay, the Chicago Avenue Business Center, which is a phenomenal project. Wait till you guys see. We're gonna do the drawings next time, but that'll be right here at 5820 West Chicago Avenue. And that's for all of your permitting needs and that kind of stuff. Please look for that. Liz, I see you. What does that say? Liz says, correct the spelling of 40 acres. So let's make sure that we correct that. Sib's Corner Coffee Shop is personally financed by a brother who lives in the community. He's opening a coffee shop on Chicago Avenue. Drip D Art Gallery, which has opened, personally financed of $50,000. Lockwood Pop Court, we know. Commercial mixed use space, 5012 West Chicago Avenue is being personally financed through Sisters Catering, who did their project. And so, and we can't forget who's in Crane Chicago Business today, Chicago Eats, Shawnee at 5312 West Chicago Avenue. Beautiful location. Did I get it, Jim?
You got it. You got it. Good. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. I do see a hand raised. Liz, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I love the list. I just have a question on, for those that they're pending and they are coming, do all of these businesses have site control?
I believe that all of those businesses do have site control. I don't see anybody on that list who does not have site control.
Okay.
We've learned.
Any other questions? There's a question from Samantha Jordan. How are these businesses connecting with the community?
A lot of the businesses live in the community. So probably half of the people that I just mentioned are people who live in the community, as well as Samantha. Please let us know. I know you're very active in the community. Please let us know how we can continue to connect. You gave us good information before. Let us know how we can connect. And if there's a way that we can get those businesses more connected, we're more than glad to do that. I think you still have all my information, but if you don't, I put it in the chat, and let's connect and see how we can even do more.
Malcolm, if I can answer one of the questions, as aldermen in those business seeking those fundings, they do notify the aldermen of their project. And we too, when we hold community meetings, necessarily have them come in and explain what they're looking to do to the community. Such as Liz, who many times, everybody are very familiar with her business now, and we help the business to be promoted. And certainly AAA and B&A also help the business to get knowledge about the community if they're not. So we kind of help hold hands and embrace them and work with them to get the word out and to support them.
There is a question. Layla Vitoy wants to ask her question regarding the business center.
Yes, happy Friday. This is Layla Batoy. I did have a question around You mentioned the business center was going to provide licensing. I wanted to get a little bit more of a flair of what all specific services and products that the center will offer. We conducted a small business survey through a forum that we conducted on June 14th, and we had about 60 plus businesses show up, and we have some really good data. About 35 to 40% of the businesses are more professional based services. So are there going to be more innovative technical solutions that specifically focus on professional service and business development?
Absolutely. I don't know who's going to answer, but I can just jump in and say that's why we need the partnership with the VACP and license. Kenya is always out at the meetings, who understand that we need to kind of walk our community, some who never started a business, through a process and help them to understand how the city and them can partner, and what are some of the resources that they can tap into. And that's one of the things that we want to make sure the center have, is to connect the dots so that they can be successful in their business. So yes, that means workshops where we don't have to go downtown. Normally, that's the way they have been doing it and getting information, but we need it local. And I can see it serving a very, very important role for us to be able to access that information. If I would ask you next year, 2 years from now, I would look for more people to have opened up business, because now is the time to be creative in this new world and start a business from scratch, no matter what it is that you like to do. Now is the time to do it.
Alderman Mitz, I would like to share the data so you can have what some small businesses were saying, and I would also like to serve
very good
with any information or support, because I have the capacity and the background with my professional career to help move that initiative forward. So I'm here as a resource if you would like to take me up on it.
Oh, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Alderman, I think that would be great.
We would love to have you, and that's what we want, people who have that drive and knowledge and willingness. We all need to work with one another, and we welcome you wholeheartedly to be of assistance in any way that we can make it better. If we looked at our avenue, I know we can vision better, and that's what we're going to do.
And just let me know who I should send that data over to. If you could drop the email, I can pop.
Yeah, we're going to drop the email in the chat for you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll follow up.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
And Ms. Patoy, this is Jim Harvin. Please send me that data as well. One of the things that we also can do, and I'll share this information with Malcolm so he can help get the word out, is that we can have business affairs and consumer protection circle back maybe at the next roundtable.
Hey, Jim. Hi,
yes.
Jim. This is Kenya. How are you?
Hey, Kenya.
And Chairman Mitz is absolutely right. You know, we understand that many of the resources that have traditionally been available at City Hall through our solution station, that there is a great need and demand for that to be in our neighborhoods, which is why we launched the business center. So I'm open to answer any questions or provide additional information.
Yeah, and Kenya, for those of you who don't know you, and I know there's only a few on the call who don't, can you just share who you are and what department?
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenya Merritt. I am the Chief Small Business Officer here with the City of Chicago's Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. And my role is to essentially support businesses. And we do that in a variety of ways. A lot of that is through partnering with business service organizations throughout the city to provide support to businesses, whether they need help with starting or scaling and growing their business. And so to the chairman's point, in the past, we've traditionally provided workshops and technical assistance here at City Hall. But through the pandemic, we realized the need to really make sure that that information was getting to neighborhoods, and that we wanted to ensure that it was accessible. Not everyone had the ability during the day to come to City Hall to access those resources.
I am not only the Bruce and the Batters and Bears.
Malcolm, you need to
Malcolm,
put
you're not muted.
We've got it.
Yeah, and so, and
So Ms.
so,
Merritt, can you wrap up pretty quickly, please?
okay. So yeah, if people have questions around the business development supports that are available through BACP and or our partners, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I will make sure to put my information in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm moving us along to the roundtable members because there are several questions and hands raised, and we've got about 7 minutes left within your meeting. So one is, Mr. Harbin, if you could put back up the first page of the Seoul City Corridor projects. Nico Lake is requesting that information, the first page of the projects. Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to look at them. I had missed them earlier, but I appreciate you putting them up.
Okay. And then I know that Mr. Coleman, you had your hand raised. I'll get to you in just a second. There is a question from Liz about the best way to involve youth. Are there employment opportunities if businesses need additional labor? What other engagement would you like to see? So I think that's for Mr. Crawford about youth engagement.
I'm trying. So with youth engagement, is that with Aisha? Aisha, I just put in there that I reached out to call you. If I called you like last week, and if we can set up again to communicate, we do have some ideas, but I would like to talk with you. So is it possible that we can talk? Aisha, I know we've talked before. I called you a couple of times last week, trying to set up.
Absolutely, Malcolm.
Okay, thank you, Aisha. Did you see what I put in the chat?
Yeah, I just read it. I got you.
Okay, thank you.
So there's also a question about from Jasmine Hagan and wanting to be a part of the Seoul City Corridor, and who should she contact. And so I think that's your information. Is that correct?
Right.
Mr.
Right.
Crawford?
Yes.
So it is posted in the chat.
Yes.
At this point, I want to call on Ed Coleman, who had his hand.
I just wanted to comment that West Side Forward has ongoing entrepreneurship workshops. As Alderman Mitz had stated that there's a need for it. We do have those workshops on an ongoing basis. And if you're interested in participating, please go to our website, which is www.westsideforward.org, and you can sign up. They're free of cost to anybody.
And is it possible, Ed, that we can connect? Because I would like to send you those referrals that we have that have come this way.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Malcolm, absolutely. We need to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can hear me, but I would just like to add, can you hear me?
Can you identify yourself?
Oh, yeah, it's Margaret Garner, Broadway Group. But I would just like to add that Westside Forward is part of our team for the Joint Public Safety Training Campus. And Westside Forward has provided training for small businesses to learn how to go through the trade tap, to participate, to do the pre-qualification process, to be contractors on the Joint Public Safety Academy. And their tutorial has just been phenomenal. And I just want to endorse that they have been a resource for the community that the alderman directed us to. They said, hey, let's bring them in. They're helping small businesses, and they have been a resource that has been phenomenal. I just want to add that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to call the roundtable's attention to, in the chat, there were several attachments that are there for your perusal. One would be the Austin Showcase that you requested. There's a flyer in there on Blues Fest a flyer on Juneteenth, a link to the article that appeared in Chicago Business Cranes, and then a flyer on 40 Acres Fresh Market. And also in the chat is a lot of contact information for various members from the roundtable. We would ask that Mr. Harbin and his team would, compile that, cull that information in some way so that it is available to you all. And lots of resources of where people can go for business assistance, et cetera. And then keeping in mind that Ms. Merritt mentioned her role in the city. I believe she has posted her info. So with that, we certainly appreciate your participation today, as you have always, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Harbin for closing.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much, Claudette, for your guidance in terms of walking us through this information. Your service is just impeccable, and we want to thank you. But I would love to turn it over to Alderman Mitz. And Alderman Mitz, if you want to have some closing remarks for us, and we do send our condolences out to Mr. McKinley and his family. I just know the loss that is, but certainly would like to turn it over to you to see if you want to offer any closing remarks.
Yes, I want to thank all of you and thank the working group and everyone who are coming on to really put some eyes on Chicago Avenue and make it look like the Soul City that we want it to be. I was hoping too, as we are looking at neighborhood opportunity funds, that we could capture in there job creation. We don't want to see funds being put in. I saw almost $2 million being put in on projects. Somebody's going to get some work, but if we don't look at how we're going to capture that per business, we're going to lose some data here that we should have. So if we could look at that, I would appreciate it and really thank all of you and know that this is a start. We're nowhere near the finish line. And I still tell you the best is still yet to come. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Alderman. You're right. This is only a start, but looking from this lens, Soul City, you have an incredible start. So it's exciting to be a part of this. Our next roundtable is going to be July 16th. We haven't necessarily worked out the details on that agenda yet, but I sense that BACP and Kenya and her wonderful team may be a part of it. And we also want to begin socializing the upcoming NOF open application period that's going to happen sometime in September. We can't do that early enough. With that, I want to wish you guys a great weekend, to be safe. And I look forward to seeing you all next month, if not sooner. So with that, please enjoy your weekends, guys. And thank you so much for participating.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Good
Thank
meeting.
you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Jim, I'm gonna be the last one with you.
Okay. By the way,
No.
what time is that pop-up start tomorrow, by the way, Malcolm?
You're talking about the
Yeah, I'm talking about the thing El made.
oh yeah, that's from I think that's 12 to 5.
12 to 5. Yeah, I may swing by there after my afternoon out south with Soul Vegetarian.
Okay, great. Well, man, yeah, let's connect. You have a great day and a great birthday.
Listen, thank you. Okay, have a good one.
All right.
Hey, David, I see you on here. Shout out to